UiTM Business and Finance Research Cambodia.
A good day I bid to everyone. In this presentation, my group will present on the research proposal entitled Corporate Governance Mechanism and the Performance of Malaysian Listed Firms in Plantation Industry. To begin with, let me introduce myself and my other group members. So my name is Sorvina, Rintik, Anak, Hendry, and my other group members are Syazwan Bin Roslan, Zaki bin Rani, and Gabriel, Maxson, George. All of us are from BA 2425C. For introductions, corporate governance can be defined as the method and framework for directing and managing a company's operations and affairs with the ultimate goal of encouraging business profitability and social responsibility. The effectiveness of the corporate governance mechanism in an organization are crucial as it can set path clearly for each body and smoothen the operations. These mechanisms are normally seen to be used in a combination or a mix as it can construct a fruitful maneuver to the organization itself. In Malaysia, the Malaysian Code on Corporate Governance (MCCG), which was implemented in the year of 2000, has been an important instrument for corporate governance reform and has had a favorable impact on corporations' corporate governance practices. As our study is focusing on Malaysian listed firms in plantation industry, we all know that the plantation industry in Malaysia is becoming one of the leading sectors contributing to the country's gross domestic product. The industry comprises of palm oil, rubber, timber, cocoa, pepper, canaf and tobacco, and lastly biofuel industry. Sourcings from the Ministry of Plantation Industry and Commodities 2020 from the year 2018 to 2019 has indicated an increase in the gross domestic product GDP, which 84.7 million ringgit increased to 86.5 million ringgit. Corporate governance is an important framework in the plantation industry. The existence of corporate governance framework in the plantation industry will enable all the members in the board industry increasing their accountability in delivering the best work performance. It will measure all the individuals and teams in the company so that they are aware with the framework and trying their best to avoid unwanted mistakes. This can help them to reduce undesired outcome for the industry. With a strong corporate governance in the plantation industry, it can encourage all the members in the management to focus on achieving the company's objectives and goals. Corporate governance has earned its place as an important role of essential tools in the industry as it can lead to the growth of the industries. Now we move to the background of the study. So the purpose of this research proposal is to study the corporate governance mechanism and the performance of Malaysian listed firms in plantation industry. This data in Malaysia has been significantly improving, especially in recent years, but historic data is necessary in order to generate preferred result. The data will be extracted from the year of 2012, 2013, and 2014. This study was focusing on 39 plantation listed companies in Bursa, Malaysia. Next is the objective and the hypothesis. There are several research objectives for this study. The research objectives are to study the relationship between the independent variables and the firm performances. The independent variables are board independent, CEO duality, directors business, nomination committee, risk management committee, board size, and board meetings. The hypothesis will be H0, there is no significant relationship between independent variables and firm performances, and H1, there is a significant relationship between independent variables and firm performance. The analysis will be based on the descriptive, correlations, and regressions analysis.
Assalamualaikum, my name is Syazwan Bin Roslan. I'll be presenting on the next slide, which is the problem statement. The plantation sector has been one of the contributors in the economy of our country. Effective management of the company are a vital role as to have a proper and effective corporate governance leading to an improvement in the company's performance. October 2021, the government has announced that they will bring in 32,000 foreign workers in the plantation sector after locals are not interested in filling jobs vacancy in the sector. Datuk Zuraida Kamaruddin, who is the Industry, Plantations and Commodity Minister, said there was a need to import these workers as Malaysians are not ready to take up harvesting jobs in the plantation sector because there are targets, and one of them is to increase commodities export to 180 billion. So far we have achieved about 160 billion. Therefore, this research needs to be done in order to study how the changes of corporate governance performance practices affect the firms in terms of them making the decisions that could give impact in the company's performance. So next is literature review. In theoretical literature, we have the agency theory authored by Jensen and Macklin in 1976, which defined as a form of contractual relationship or agency relationship that exists in the firm created among the persons that is involved in the firm itself. In other words, an associations and the agreement made between the principal and the agent. So next is empirical literature. First variable is the board independence. One of the researchers said that it will boost transparency and will distribute information easily, which then would lead to the improvements of the firm's liquidity. Research done by Foods and Zen in 2010. Apart from that, research done by Abdullah in 2004 stated that board independence does not associate with the firm's financial performance. Next is CEO duality. There is a positive performance of the company was contributed by the companies to have independent chairmen. A research done by Hussein and Osman in 2012, but in the contrast, there was a negative impact to the firm's performance when the firm split into two roles. A research done by Masood and Kodratullah in 2011. Moving on to the director's business, a research done by Mishra and Kapil in 2018 stated that a positive relationship between the director's business and the firm's performance. There are a negative relationship between the business of the outside directors and business performance. Research done by Jacqueline and Joel in 2009. Moving on to the nominations committee's independent. Research done by Rigog et al. In 2006 stated that a positive relationship which does boost the business success, but in contrast, there is research done by McKnight and Ware in 2009 stating that there is a negative relationship which leads to a lower firm's performance. In risk management committee, research done by Fraser and Hendry in 2017 stating that there is a positive relationship as it accommodates the board on their goals. In board size, a research done by Jensen and Macklin 1976, there is a positive relationship as high numbers of directors would lead to a successful management affecting the firm's performance. But research done by Wu and Nguyen in 2017 stating that there is a negative relationship as there are a negative association between the board size and the company's performance. And last but not least is the board meeting, stated by KNKG in 2012, a research stating that positive relationship as higher the number of meetings, more often they will discuss on the firm's performance. But in contrast to this, a research done by Bhatt and Bhattacharya in 2015, there is a negative relationship as it leads to more presence of board of commissioners.
My name is Zaki and I'll be the next presenter. Next, we will take a look at the theoretical framework for measuring the firm performances in the Malaysian listed firm in the plantation industry. So firstly, we have the dependent variable, which is the ROA and the Tobin's Q. And next, we have the independent variable, which is board independence, CEO duality, director's business, nomination committee independence, risk management committee, board size, board meeting, as well as firm size and firm leverage. Next, we will take a look at the data collection and methodology. The purpose of the study is to study the corporate governance mechanisms and the firm performances in the Malaysian listed firm in the plantation industry. Next, the data collection is 3 years, which is 2012, 2013 and 2014. The data will be obtained from 42 listed companies in the plantation industry that is available in the Bursa Malaysia, and we have excluded 3 companies, which is Booth State PLC, Semnabi Plantation as well Matang Berhad, because the data are missing. Next is the concept map of methodology. So based on this map, we will be conducting several test consideration for data analysis, such as descriptive analysis, regression analysis, and correlation analysis. So descriptive analysis are descriptive coefficient that summarize a given data set, which can be a representation of the entire population or a sample of it. So for this research, descriptive analysis are used to measure the variability that includes mean, median, standard deviation, skewness, and kurtosis. So for this descriptive analysis, it shows 116 observations from 39 public listed companies of plantation sector in Malaysia. After removing outliers, there are only 39 companies left out of 42, and we have decided to proceed with the analysis. For the dependent variable, we can see that the Tobin skew has the highest mean by 59.08976, while the return on asset has the lowest mean by 0.425625. Board size has the highest mean and median value by 7.55 and 7.00% respectively, while board independence has the lowest value of mean and median by 0.4344 and 0.4285 respectively. So the standard deviation, Director's Business has the highest standard deviation by 1.3145, and the lowest standard deviation is CEO duality by 0.1594. For the skewness, Board's meeting has the maximum value of skewness, which is by 2.1365, while CEO duality has the lowest skewness by negative 5.9743. For the kurtosis value, we can observe that CEO duality has the highest value by 36.6932, while nomination committee independence has the lowest kurtosis value by 5.3199. So the dependent variables which are not normally distributed are CEO duality, board independence, risk management committee, nomination committee independence, board meetings and directors' business, since the p-value is less than 10% significant level, while board size is normally distributed since the p-value is more than 10% significant level, which is 12.41%. So for the normality test, relative probability value is 0.000000. So we can see that the probability value is less than 5% significant level. So the null hypothesis is to be rejected. Therefore, this means that the data show is not normally distributed.
Now moving on to the first analysis, which is the correlation analysis, we can take a look at the first dependent variable, which is the Tobin skew. On the Tobin skew dependent variable, there are 2 significant correlations, which is the first one is the board size. As board size increases, Tobin skew increases. This indicates a positive and significant correlation between board size and Tobin skew. The second one is firm size, where as firm size increases, Tobin skew decreases. This indicates a significant but negative correlation between board size and Tobin skew. Second dependent variable, which is the return on asset, there are 2 significant correlations as well, which is board size and firm size. And in board size, as board size increases, return on asset increases. This indicates a positive correlation between board size and return on asset. And on firm size, as firm size increases, return on asset decreases. This indicates a negative and significant correlation between board size and return on asset. Let's take a look at the regression analysis on our first dependent variable, which is the Tobin skew. The p-value for the F statistic for Tobin skew is significant at a significance level of p below than 10%, and this indicates that the model is fit. Moving on to the R squared value, the independent variables explain 37.4315% of the Tobin skew, while the remaining 62.5685% can be explained by other independent variables. Moving on to the regression analysis for Tobin skew, only 5 of the independent variables significantly linked to the Tobin skew. Board independence, nomination committee, independence, risk management committee, board size and firm size. Moving on to the second dependent variable, the p-value for the F statistic for return on asset is significant at a significant level of p below than 10%. And this indicates that the model is fit as well, where moving on to the R squared value, the dependent variable can explain 17.1601% of return on asset, while the remaining 82.8399% can be explained by other independent variables. Into the regression analysis for the return on asset, only one of the 9 independent variables are significantly linked to the return on asset, which are the following.
There is a limitations of study where it has limited number of previous study regarding this area, which lead to difficulty in collecting more data and compare the findings of this study. Besides, we also facing with missing data from several companies, as we only managed to extract data from only 39 plantation companies instead of 42 companies that being listed under Bursa Malaysia. Due to this, future researchers should add longer period of years and add more variables when conducting their research. They should also add more observations and data collected in order to enhance the accuracy and the reliability of the results of the findings. So to conclude, based on the findings, board size and firm size accept the null hypothesis, while the other independent variables accept alternative hypothesis. The board size is indeed pivotal for companies, as larger boards have a positive impact on the firm value, implying greater wealth for shareholders. Boards with a large number of directors will bring human and social capital to the table, since they may contribute various forms of expertise and skill sets, as well as knowledge of related sectors. That's all from us. Thank you.